Okay, here we go.
Stories call, shadows whisper down the hall, footsteps echo in the dark, another case, another spark, digging deep where secrets hide, truth they bury, it survives, it's my peace, we break the lies, light up and alive, we're seeking truth, no stone unturned, every clue, every word, justice waits in hidden rooms, we won't stop, we're seeking truth. Silent victims lost and gone, echoes scream but life moves on, faded faces, mystery calls, answers waiting in the walls, digging deep where secrets hide, truth they bury, it survives, piece by piece we break the lies, light up and alive, we're seeking truth, no stone unturned, every clue, every word, justice waits in hidden rooms, we won't stop, we're seeking truth. Through the static, through the fear, we'll uncover what's unclear.
What the fuck?
Through the static, through the fear, we'll uncover what's unclear. We're seeking truth, no stone unturned. Every clue, every word, justice waits in hidden rooms. We won't stop, we're seeking truth. No, we won't stop. No, we won't stop. We're seeking truth.
Hey babe, what are you using? Did you bring me my purple device downstairs? You know, my smoking one. I got one of these cracks and it's not working on my Uzi.
Late at night, stories call, shadows whisper down the hall, footsteps echo in the dark, another case, another spark.
Alright, it's not purple. It's purple.
Secrets hide, truth they bury, it survives. Piece by piece we break the lies, light up and alive. We're seeking truth, no stone unturned. Every clue, every word, justice waits in hidden rooms. We won't stop, we're seeking truth.
Good thing I kept the box. Almost ready, guys. Hold on.
Silent victims lost and gone, echoes scream but life moves on. Faded faces,
Okay, so it works in this one, but did not want to work in my old Oh, this looks good. Okay, here we go. After this, we'll be ready. Take that off. Just in case. We'll put one on this bad boy. Make sure this doesn't focus. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Who's here with me? Who's here? Who's here? Who's here in the house? Hello, Miss Amber. Hello, hello. Welcome. You're a newbie. You're somebody new. Hi. I'm pretty sure you're new, but I love the dog picture. Love the Rottweiler. Now, that is a cute dog too. Shit, I forgot to tell my husband about the German Shepherd that's missing. Um, my neighbor has a German Shepherd. They have two of them. One's a baby, and there's a sign posted up on my pole. Hi, headstones, and there's a missing German Shepherd, and I'm like, oh my god. So it just dawned on me. I need to ask my neighbor if that's their German Shepherd that's missing. My dog Scooby loves German Shepherds. He loves female dogs, of course, because he's a boy. But I know I said 8. Please forgive me, y'all. I got into watching some TV with the hubby. Okay. As y'all know, my birthday is coming up, and so just become sitting at home window shopping and thinking of some things that I want the hubby to get me or I get myself or whatever. Um, yeah, so that's coming up. So today I just kind of did some research. I have a new video. We have a lot to get through, but I have not seen anybody bring any attention to this, and I feel like it's very important. So we're going to talk about some wildfires and the causes. Now, today I could tell you the side effects of the wildfires is crazy because when I was outside for not even like I went to the car, went to the gas station, went to the dollar store, came home, and I had a headache. I didn't feel so great. And some of the side effects from being outside in this air that we're breathing in from the wildflowers, the wildfires have made it ferocious to even be outside, to even breathe. Um, a lot of the side effects are headache, can't breathe, shortness of breath, wheezy, coughing, tiredness. I felt a lot of that when I was out for just about an hour. I think I was out for about an hour, and I felt like doo doo afterwards. So, however, forgive me on this next story because I don't have any notes on this story, but I feel like it's very important. Summertime is coming to a halt, and this is I do believe out of Missouri, you guys, out of Missouri. And what happened was this 12-year-old boy died because there's no funding to test the waters. Now, when you hear the clip and the story and the article, you're going to get mad. I got super mad because I'm like, wait a minute. How is there no funding to test these waters, these rivers? You can test the other one because they said they have the money to, and it's mandatory. But isn't it mandatory for you to also check the rivers? I mean, you can catch so much stuff out here. This is a brain eating thing that got into this little boy's brain and killed him. They are saying there's no funding. There's no funding for this. It's like, how is there no funding? Like, how in the world does this happen? How in the world can you take money to go fix these damn roads, but you can't test the waters? Like, how urgent is that for you to be able to test these waters so these kids can swim? He went swimming. Not that he went swimming, I do believe he was skiing. I'm going to show you guys the video. Just pre warn yourself. This isn't on my topic that I was going to talk about tonight. We will get there. Could be a long one. But I only drank a small one, the little Alani's. I love these things. The cherry slush is one of my favorites, but yeah. Oh my god, you heard about this? Yeah, like headstones. I don't understand it. Like, how are they saying that they have no funding for that? And this little boy had this brain eating bug in his head. Like, and he was out skiing with some friends. He was a high athlete. He just, it's so sad. And this is out of Missouri. Okay, let me just quit talking. Let me share my screen. Let's get into it. Let's go. We have a lot of stuff to talk about, okay? We have a whole lot. Now, this thing is called Imboa. Imboa. The way they pronounced it was a little bit crazy. Ebola, I do believe, person infected with a brain-eating Ebola after water skiing, health officials say. Now, this happened August 14th. It's one day, okay? One day. If you guys can put a 1 in the chat, let me know if you guys can hear this. I gotta pull up.
Automobile injury cases are the most prevalent cases out there. However, the insurance industry is well equipped to fight those cases. So what we do is maximize that recovery for a client.
The family of 12-year-old Jason Carr is mourning his shocking death after he was infected with a rare brain-eating amoeba while he was swimming in a lake in South Carolina over the summer.
South Carolina. We're going to keep going. Let's keep listening.
Jason's parents, Clarence and Ebony Carr, join us now. Thank y'all so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. Clarence, tell us what happened.
Well, Jason went to a friend's house to celebrate the 4th of July weekend. And
so really quick, so this thing was in his brain, could have got in there, and he was at a friend's skiing and swimming in July. So it's now August. This thing has... It's so sad, you guys. I cannot believe this.
They had a full holiday full of swimming, fishing, boating, just being a bunch of little boys doing what kids do.
Yep, playing.
And when we went to pick them up, the next day, Jason was complaining about a headache. And we weren't really sure what was going on, so we gave him a Tylenol. And he said that he did feel...
Really quick, I'm going to spoil for you guys now. The little tiger that the mommy is holding here is her baby boy's heartbeat. Now, you're telling me the government doesn't have the money to clean out these waters, these rivers, or at least put the signs up, like the mom does ask later down the line, like in the interview. I just gotta pause and stop, just in case. But just listen, okay?
Somewhat better. The very next day, he complained about a headache again. And then we decided to take him to the doctor to just get him checked, see what was going on. With him being a multi-sport athlete, I thought maybe he was dehydrated, because I know he plays hard, he's energetic, and I was really hoping that that's what was going on. Mm-hmm. Once we got to the doctor, they gave him a shot. I believe it was Toradol. Jason said that
12 years old, and they give him a shot called Toradol. Now, Toradol is a little bit shot lesser than, but still, it's a powerful shot for a 12-year-old. Okay, just
he was
in my opinion, it's a little much.
feeling somewhat better. So we went home and kind of had a normal night, video games, playing with his friends. So things kind of leveled out. The very next day, Jason went to baseball practice. After practice, he wanted to go to a friend's house and hang out and play for a little while. Mm-hmm. So while there, the friend's mother texted my wife and said, "Hey, Jason's complaining of a headache again." And we said, okay, we'll keep an eye on him and go from there. Well, she texted back saying that he was vomiting.
Oh my gosh.
And that's when we went to go pick him up. At that point, I know Jason plays football as well. I was thinking maybe he's got a concussion, maybe he got hit and didn't really tell me what happened.
See, could have been.
So when we picked him up and came home to get his clothes together to take him to the doctor,
poor little boy,
we knew something was wrong immediately because he left us in the house and walked to the truck and waved to us, telling us, "Hey, I gotta go." So we grabbed the keys, took him to the ER. He walked in on his own. He was in pain. He walked in on his own. We went to the ER and he vomited there again during triage. The doctor really didn't have a lot to go on other than the symptoms he was displaying, which was a headache and vomiting. Once they did the triage, the doctor was wanting to start antibiotics. Didn't really know which way to go because, again, he only displayed 2 symptoms. As time went by, Jason started to spike a fever. And that's when the doctor had some direction of where to go, implicating an infection of some type. Mm-hmm. So they started different antibiotics, and we disclosed that he was in water. We did disclose that he was at Lake Murray. Mm-hmm. They were leaning toward.
So you guys know anybody that's in Missouri or out that way or Carolina? I'm not exactly sure if he had swam, but he swam in Lake Murray. Not sure if that's how they spelled it, but because I do want to make a file of this. Oh, please.
Meningitis. So they did a spinal tap just to verify. And while we were waiting for those results to come back, again, Murray, they were aggressive with starting the treatments. They didn't wait on anything. They just weren't sure which direction to go. And unfortunately, the culture came back showing that Jason was infected with the amoeba.
Y'all, I am so sorry. We all who grew up in Columbia, that's where we all learned to water ski and swim. Ebony, he was a great athlete. I know he was in middle school, played on the B team and JV for Dreher High School. He was first chair flute, also helped special needs kids at his school that y'all didn't even know about until after he passed away. We are so saddened. I know that they test the waters in the beaches. I don't know if that happens around the country, but in South Carolina, but they don't test the waters in freshwater, rivers and lakes. They don't have the funding for that. So I know you're on a mission to try to change that. So this doesn't.
Okay, let's back that up. Because she said in certain lakes have the funding and freshwater doesn't, or how is that possible?
We all learned to water ski and swim. Ebony, he was a great athlete. I know he was in middle school, played on the B team and JV for Dreher High School. He was first chair flute, also helped special needs kids at his school that y'all didn't even know about until after he passed away. We are so saddened. I know that they test the waters in the beaches. I don't know if that happens around the country, but in South Carolina, but they don't test the waters in freshwater, rivers and lakes.
So South Carolina, that just drives me insane. I'm going to have to research about testing the waters, rivers. How there's no funding is beyond me. I don't get it. How is there not enough funding? when I heard that earlier, when I watched this, I knew, like, sorry, I'm trying to pin everything to my clipboard that I keep all the time. Um, I'm gonna put it out here, even though I don't know if that link works, but if anybody could go to that link and check. I have been trying to reorganize my Amazon wish list, and there's things on there that is for my birthday is coming up, but I do want to think about getting a mic maybe. I don't know. I kind of just like working off my basic laptop. Um, but I just figured why everybody else does, and my birthday's coming up, so I figured why not. But I don't understand how there could be funding for one water but not funding for the other, but there's so much funding for, like, the car, getting the roads fixed, all that stuff, but not
lakes. They don't have the funding for that. So I know you're on a mission to try to change that so this doesn't happen to other kids. I know it's very rare, and we did get a statement from Dominion Energy, which owns the lake. They create the energy for the area. And they said, we are deeply saddened by the tragic loss of Jason Carr. According to public health agencies, naturally occurring microorganisms are present in fresh water, but these types of tragedies are rare. We encourage everyone to follow safety guidance.
Rare my ass. Come on now. They're saying that it's rare, but you should be treating that water.
From public health agencies when engaging in recreational water activities. Ebony, I'll give you the last word today for us. Tell us about your son.
Jason was a ray of sunshine. He put a smile on everybody's face. He was known for his infectious smile. He loved everybody, no matter your age, no matter your race, no matter your gender. He was the kid that everybody wanted their kid to be a friend to. He welcomed everybody with open arms. He loved God. He just loved everyone. He was just our ray of sunshine. I cherish the moments that we have with him. I'm going to miss the moments that we're not going to have with him, like his first dance,
right?
His prom, going to college. He was going to be that one that was going to be somebody. Mm-hmm. Everybody loved him, and he never had an enemy. And we're all going to miss that about him. And we want everybody to know that he was a great kid.
He even helped other kids that were handicapped. Sad.
Yeah, you're holding his,
was a really great
tiger. I think his heartbeat, you can hear his heartbeat in that tiger, and you're holding him that very closely. He leaves behind, obviously, the two of y'all, his family loved him. We saw the pictures at Disney World of his older sister and younger brother. If there's one tip that you can give parents to avoid this, what is it?
Do your research.
Listen.
If you're doing something that you've never done before, do your research. Also, these companies out here, if you know that there's something out there that could potentially be deadly, let people know so they can make their own informed decision on whether or not they.
Can you believe
starting
that?
the treatments? They didn't wait on anything.
It's crazy.
They just weren't sure which direction.
It's a really great
tiger. I think his heartbeat, you can hear his heartbeat in that tiger, and you're holding on to that very closely. He leaves behind, obviously, the two of y'all, his family loved him. We saw the pictures at Disney World of his older sister and younger brother. If there's one tip that you can give parents to avoid this, what is it?
Do your research. If you're doing something that you've never done before, do your research. Also, these companies out here, if you know that there's something out there that could potentially be deadly, let people know so that they can make their own informed decision on whether or not they want to take that chance.
Okay. God bless you both. Thank you so much.
I cannot believe that there's no funding for that, for those lakes to be tested or rivers. So Missouri resident has been infected with, so he probably got it in South Carolina. So my South Carolinas out there, be careful. And so be careful with the skiing. So they were skiing, and this happened to this little boy. Missouri resident is not pictured, has been infected with rare brain eating and boa, possible link to the water skiing in Lake Aza. So we got Lake Murray and we got Lake Aza that are the two suspects of where he got this brain eating.
Attorney General Pam Bondi. Pam, welcome back. Good to have you back. All right, before we get to the guy, this is just breaking, this letter that you have signed and now apparently sent out. I know this has happened in our nation's capital. I
don't know what that is, but okay. So commonly known as brain-eating Ebola. And in hospitalized in an intensive care unit has been treated for the primary. That's crazy. No other cases are suspected at this time. He has been water skiing delayed leading up to the illness. So Missouri resident. It just makes me wonder about these two lakes and why aren't they being are they being investigated? Temperatures. So most active in the months of the water temperatures is 77 Fahrenheit in July and August and September, according to the health officials. So he went skiing in July 4th, and ew, yuck. Early signs usually including a headache, nausea, fever, vomiting. Infectious people experience confusion, stiff neck, discoloration, hallucinations, seizures, and comas. Look how nasty that is. Those bugs are that was scary. Ew. That was in that little boy's brain. The unidentified adult is being treated for primary embolic places (PM), deadly infection caused by Nigeria flori eye stalk. Ew. And it went to his poor little brain. Are you guys seeing how nasty this ugly little thing is? Look at this thing. Yuck. Infection occurs when water is harboring the Ebola. It goes up a person's nose. However, the effect of all these drugs are actually infected people is unknown due to the high fatality rate of lung storm noted. Those who experience sudden headaches, fever, stiff neck, or vomiting, especially if they have recently been swimming in warm water, fresh water, should seek immediate and medical attention. This is crazy. Now, I've been to a Clyde community pool. I hope that ain't contagious. Oh my God, it's going to make me thinking I don't want to go swimming in. See, I've never really liked to swim in beaches to begin with, but this, or rivers, or any of that, to know that that could happen, that nasty bug could eat your brain. I'm good. It's just sad this little boy lost his life because he wanted to have fun with his friends. And he continued still to try to have fun, though, didn't he? He still kept trying. And I just cannot believe that. I can't imagine it would even be a big expense. I know, right, Amber? Like, how is that not a big expense? Mibia? Yeah, I can't pronounce that word. It's a crazy word. I just read that there's no definition cure. Yeah, there's no definitive cure for it either, Amber. And it's like, how come these companies and these beaches aren't putting up these hazard signs? Like, I remember back home in my hometown, Port Clinton, they, when the beach or the algae got too high, that, when the algae got too high, that, they would, take it down. They would shut down the beaches. You weren't allowed to go swimming, just like out at East Harbor State Park. If the algae was up there, or if it was too high, they shut down the beaches. So we didn't really have to deal with that too much, but I cannot believe there's not no. Yes, it should be a prioritize and common. Yes, or take some of that extra funding of that money and put it somewhere. Like put it where, instead of fixing all these roads that they just make 10 times worse. You know, fix your stuff. Okay, so the next thing I want to go over is we're going to talk about Canada and how Canada and the wildfires are doing some hell of a time on our air and breathing it in. Like I said, I'm just going to go off some of my notes here that I have. Then we'll go into, the other day it said there was over 720 burning fires in Canada right now. And the smoke has affected so many Minnesotans, different people in all the United States has been affected by it. On the map, you'll see that on the map. But the fire and the atmosphere out there that we're breathing this in, these wildfires that have caught so many different things on fire, you got tons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, which can harm our climate and our living organisms. Can kill definitely the creatures, organisms. It can do a lot. And it's very concerning. They're very concerned. And the wildfires can affect us in so many ways. Let's see. There are many people with certain health issues. They're also affected. They are very. They're high risk for being out there, being exposed. And these fires continue to happen, and they're happening right now as we speak. Let's see here. And the United States is getting hit with it too. So it's not just in little towns. Everywhere is affected. So let's go. Let's see. Let's go to this one because this one looked really interesting. And I want you guys to see, like, this is Minnesota. Okay. My Minnesotas, my Murrays, you guys are at risk. Everybody's at risk. So let me know if you guys can hear this.
I recommend Cunol Brain Health with 2 powerful, high-absorption ingredients clinically shown to improve memory, focus, attention, and more. Cunol, the brand I trust.
Minnesotans are again answering the call for help in Canada, where wildfires continue to torch millions of acres of forest.
As you know, those fires have choked our air with smoke this summer.
Yes.
Canadian authorities reported 3 new fires today to the more than 700 that are already burning there right now. As Jonah Kaplan reports, the Minnesota crews have one major takeaway for people complaining about the smoke.
Canada can't do this alone.
No.
Just look at this video from northern Manitoba.
That is crazy. Can we all hear it? Can we all hear it in the chat? Give me a 1 and a woo woo. If I have any woo woos, you know what that is. Woo woo. You will know. I cannot believe all this smoke.
Taken by veteran Minnesota DNR firefighter Joe Meyer.
Just to see the walls of fire that were 100 feet over the treetops and a mile long. It adds a whole new complexity when all you can do is access the stuff by air. And supplies are so far away.
Put a one.
Meyer was part of the DNR's third rotation this summer to travel north of the border. A fourth is headed there later this month.
When fires are so big like that, and when they're so far out of reach, what is the game plan? Where do you even start?
So there is a lot of communities up there, that mining communities and fishing communities, all kinds of little communities. And the number one priority, obviously, is public safety and firefighter safety. But our other objective up there was, to put protection on these towns.
Yeah.
Life is the irreplaceable commodity.
Right.
And so if there has to be fire and there has to be smoke, even billowing into Minnesota, if we save lives, then it's worth it.
Oh, absolutely.
Minnesota is part of what's called the Great Lakes Forest Fire Compact, a resource sharing agreement between Minnesota, Michigan, Wisconsin, Manitoba, and Ontario.
Ontario did send a fire engine down with the crew.
Ontario is very pretty. Ontario, Canada is gorgeous. I've been to both sides. I've been to the New York side. I've been to the other side. Niagara Falls is beautiful from whatever side you see it. I think you can still see Niagara Falls from I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure you can. At winter time down there, when that Niagara Fall is frozen, is freaking beautiful because they have like these lights underneath of it. But like, I've been to Canada a couple times. Craziest time, there was a freaking fracking tornado in Canada. And let me tell you what, we were in a hotel on the 30th floor because we stayed at some big resort for my Girl Scout team, because my Girl Scout team was like pretty damn good. We were good. And so we got to do a lot of trips. In Niagara Falls, this hotel that they have up there, it's huge. And they have like mini golf. They've got like, it's a nice little, and we had a tornado, and my mom had to go down all these flights of steps. Yeah, it was crazy.
In May, and helped us out in Minnesota on initial attack wildfires. Some of those same people that went up to Manitoba 2 years ago were on those fires that we had in St. Louis County this spring.
So it's more than a two-way street. It's a collective battle for the future.
It's not Canada's fault. They just there's a lot of fire up there right now.
Jonah Kaplan, WCCO News.
The U.S. Forest Service sent hundreds of firefighters to Canada this summer. However, they've all been called back to help with a growing fire threat in the Rockies and the Pacific Northwest.
Isn't that crazy? All that smoke, and we're breathing that in.
It's good to think of.
And it's not good for us to be breathing that in. It's really not. It's really not good for us to be breathing that in. I thought I closed it. Okay. Let me come back to y'all. I just cannot believe. But I have something else I want to show you. I have a couple other things we can go over here. I want to show you guys where I got some of our key points, some of our key notes from. So if we look here on the map, okay, United States, you got Vancouver, all of these spots, Toronto. If we look up here, you thought it told us what the colors were. I think red means that they're active right now. And yeah, I do believe red means active and yellow means, let's see, quality levels in multiple states have been deemed unsafe and sensitive groups, which is all these. I don't want to be breathing in all this smoke. And it's only going to get worse. Okay, so here are some pictures. You can see how gritty the sky is. Like if you look at it, you can see when you see that gritty sky. And we need rain. We need some rain. Is what we need. Smoky haze from the wildfires makes poor air quality rating covers the skyline in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, August 3rd. We're going to play this little clip here as soon as my ad will play.
The Wisconsin DNR says levels have improved from here this week has cleared out, but wildfires are still burning in Canada and could continue to affect our air quality throughout the summer. The Wisconsin DNR says levels have improved from unhealthy to moderate, but that doesn't mean the risk is over. Dr. Zachary Baseman from ThedaCare says it's important to understand what the air quality alerts actually mean and how they should guide your day-to-day activities.
Just because you feel fine and it says that the air is unhealthy doesn't necessarily mean it isn't impacting your health.
Exactly.
And in that way, I would say it's really kind of a lifetime exposure that you're trying to limit.
You guys, I'm not kidding you. I felt it when I was out, just being a little bit out on the, it's horrible to breathe in.
So that you don't develop chronic lung disease from constant exposure or prolonged exposures from being outside.
Even on days when the sky looks clear, the air quality could still be poor. Dr. Baseman recommends checking the air quality index daily, limiting outdoor time when the levels rise, using HEPA filters inside, even wearing an N95 mask if you have to be out, especially if you have asthma or other lung issues.
Mm-hmm. We're going to go over the people that have health problems, what to look for. Let's see. Let's pause that. Ooh, we gotta skip.
Significant wildland fire potential outlook. The National Interagency Fire Center maps spots across the country that have a higher than average potential for big wildfires. It forecasts which areas could see an increase in wildfire activity in the next 4 months. And for much of western Montana and northern Idaho, they are predicting higher potential for significant fires from July to September, partially due to a warmer, drier July forecast in the northern Rockies. But thanks to mid-June storms, Glacier National Park and the Northern Front Range are not forecasted to have above average fire potential, at least until August. I have a glimpse at what could.
Okay, so let me make sure that there's nothing else that I wanted to show you on this one. We have one more to look at. Okay, so now we're going to go back and we have one more thing to look at. So stay on. Come on, rain. I know we need some rain. I've experienced trying to breathe with nearby fires, especially in CA. It's horrible. It's a danger to leave the house. Oh my God, Amber. Yeah. And imagine if you have dogs and animals and cats too. Like my cat loves being outside, especially in the summertime. He loves it. But my cat doesn't use the litter box. He goes outside to go pee and potty. So when we let the dog out, we let the cat out. When we let the dog in, cat comes in. So it's crazy. But I do want to talk about what it can do to our bodies, okay? And then, so here's some of the key points that I was bringing up earlier. So the wildfire smoke can reach far away from where fires burn. So you can have a wildfire. I can't speak tonight. You could have a wildfire burning somewhere 2 different states away, and pretty much you're going to be able to see that smoke still. Or see if you have a fire burning 300 feet from you, you're going to be able to see the smoke. Wildfire smoke can make anyone sick, but some people have higher risk of getting sick, which be ready to protect yourself against the smoke and ash before and during and after wildfire, okay? So like that lady said, make sure you wear an I-95 mask if you got to be outside, people who build in houses and work in. It's very dangerous. See how cloudy and so wildfire smoke can make anyone sick, but some people are higher risk of getting sick. We know that. Wildfire. Okay, right here. So when you got a wildfire, you got a mixture of gases, fine particles from burning trees, plants, building, and other materials. If you got different hazardous plants that caught on fire, certain trees can give off a different, it's very serious. So breathing in smoke can affect you right away, causing coughing, trouble breathing, which I do have all wrote down, so let's stay together here. We have coughing, trouble breathing, wheezy, asthma, stingy eyes, runny nose. Now, I have experienced, when I was outside, I can mark down, I have experienced coughing, definitely wheezing. My nose started to run. My throat got scratchy, and I had a really bad headache, and I felt tired. I felt drained just by going to 2 stores. Chest pain. My fiance felt that the other day too, although he already has chest issues. So let's see: stingy eyes, scratchy throat, runny nose, irritated sinuses, headaches, tiredness, chest pains, fast heartbeat. And we got all these right here. Now, the people who are at risk are people with chronic illnesses, chronic conditions. I have learned asthma is a chronic condition. It's never going to go away. I have asthma and COPD. That's why I don't really smoke cigarettes anymore. I quit smoking cigarettes. I haven't had a cigarette since April. However, I do vape, especially my Mary Jane. But I vape this thing called Juul, but I only do a certain nicotine amount. I'm down to I think a 3. I was at a 5, but since I found that spot on my lung, I really haven't touched a cigarette. I do crave one every now and then, though. Whew. And that sucks. So people and I'm still trying to practice breathing through my nose because my doctor said it's going to be a while. And I'm like, dang it. Especially being fully healed takes about 6 months. So, yeah. On that note. So chronic conditions, asthma, COPD, diabetes, chronic kidney disease, heart disease, those who are pregnant, children, and responders. Pulmonary disease is COPD, chronic conditions, asthma, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease is COPD. And then if you're pregnant, you really shouldn't be out here either when you're pregnant. That's not somewhere where you should be when you're pregnant, okay? I can't believe we only have 4 pages left in this book, and then in the kids' notebook section, we have a lot. I'm getting to end with that one too. I just wanted to make sure I kept all my notes together. So I cannot believe that these fires are continuing to happen. They're having a hard trouble to maintain them. And it's not safe for us to be out there. Some have been evacuated, some haven't. But Ash, evacuate safely during wildfires and how to stay healthy when you return home. Preparing, I will try to, I should have listed my resources in here. But it gives you lots of resources. So if you know anybody that's in where those fires are at, definitely make sure that you have loved ones are safe. Yeah, that's a hard one to give up, I know. So at least I've converted, I've actually quit smoking cigarettes and I went to the vape instead. So I mean, yeah, there's other ways to eat the Mary Jane instead of doing it the other way, but then I'll just get chunkier. I rather just, but so the Juul, I went down to nicotine. No, I did go down to nicotine. My stepmother, when she found out she had her spot and it turned into lung cancer after she had it removed, she quit smoking cigarettes, but she smoked a Juul. And let me tell you what, the smells, after me having that surgery, I could definitely tell, like, the smells of stuff. It stinks and stuff. But, I wish I could stop saying the M word. I need to stop it. I need to, like, take one of those. I used to have us take a speech when I was in college. Composition, I hated it. I hated composition 1, 2, and 3, and I took a grammar one and everything like that. Okay, so I don't know if Spitfire's here, but if we could gather, I don't know if somebody could pass out a message to Spitfire to get her butt over here. We do need her to participate in the chat and to watch. We have something that we left off on. 2 days ago, we left off on missing Indigenous men. We left off on this really good video, and I have it on YouTube to where I could like speed it up a little bit. We started watching this thing called Investigation. I'm gonna pull it up so I can actually explain it. So let's go here. Oh, wrong one. Now, what do they want? I swear, people don't know how to leave me alone. I swear, people. Ooh, they always call me at the wrong time. Okay. So here we have. It is called not Scooby Doo, not that. I'm about to turn my phone off because they don't. My niece, she won't stop, and I can't stand when she does that. She knows I already messaged her and said, "Hey, I'm busy. I'm in a live. I don't got time. I don't." So, anyways, highway of Tears is an actual bridge. It's a highway. And this correlates with the missing Indigenous women and the men. And there's a highway that takes place, and it's called the Highway of Tears. And there's also the boys that we were working on were Barry Seymour, he was 31 years old, Colton Fleury, and Lucas DeGeneres. And if we hear anything, if we've seen them, we were supposed to call Crime Stoppers 1-800-222-8477. It might say that in here, but this is out of British Columbia. Highway of Tears, 500-mile single-lane stretch roadway. But we have been doing the Indigenous men. Let's see, here's another one, searches. So we're going to watch this. I'm not sure. I was looking to see if it showed, if we could see Barry, or if it showed. That video is still up. You guys can go watch it. They also have the Canada missing. But let's just. In the chat to make sure that we can hear this. It'd be great. I hope the music doesn't get me in trouble. I'm actually gonna go put in. Let me go. Out to this. I have subscribed to YouTube. Make sure you guys subscribe to this one down here. I'm trying to pull him up here.
British Columbia, the westernmost province of Canada, bordering with Alaska, the Yukon, the Northwest Territories, and Alberta.
Wow.
The largest city is Vancouver, with an estimated population of over 2.3 million, ranking it the second largest city in the Pacific Northwest. Prince George, known as the Gateway to the North, has a population of over 84,000. It's the fourth largest city in the province. For the last 40 years, women have been disappearing and turning up murdered along the Highway of Tears, a name given to a 724-kilometer stretch of road from Prince George to Prince Rupert. Infamous for this series of murders and the harsh injustices that could also span the same figurative distance. The North is dominated by industries focusing on its vast natural resources like the forestry, mining, fishing, energy, and agricultural sectors. While economic growth is strong, the division of wealth sharing still isn't in place, forcing much of the smaller communities to live below the poverty level with an unemployment.
Native pride. And that's the whole thing we've been doing too. We have been doing a segment the past couple of weeks. We've done segments of natives, of Native American girls that have gone missing. We have Selena, Not Afraid. We have, let me go back to my notes. We have a couple of the girls. Maybe they're in my adult notebook. It might be in my adult notebook because they weren't super young, but they were young. We have so many of them. We have, and even children. I just now started to really like bear with the adults here. I just now really started touching into the children. But you guys, like, I'm not kidding you. When this topic was brought to my attention that this was a pandemic, I knew something had to be done. I knew something had to be done. Something had to be talked about. And why isn't it being talked about? But let's continue.
Rate as high as 92% in some First Nations reservations.
MIW.
The Highway of Tears is the nucleus of a much larger problem on how the Indigenous population has been treated since colonialism. These murders aren't just the work of serial killers, but the sad result of systemic and socioeconomic issues that have plagued the First Nations communities for generations.
It's such a vast area geographically, and that's a concern for us as well, because we have a number of people who look at that as a crime of opportunity. They might not be leaving that day thinking that they're going to find someone and hurt them, but it's that mental thought that nobody would ever know what happened to this individual. You know, so many different places for them to hide, so many different places for them to get rid of the evidence.
A lot of road, a lot of country. And for every kilometer of paved road that you see, there's probably 1,000 kilometers of gravel road that would align with that. So it's this massive, massive country.
The basic point is that it is not just one murder. It's there are serial murders, and also people who are very opportunistic and copycats. So there are women who are still going missing and still being murdered on the highway.
You know, believe it or not, even though, you know, there's been lots of media.
Let me pause right here real quick. So why isn't this road lit up, hit up? Why isn't this road being, you know, like, why is this road a like, I feel like it's kind of a secret, to be honest, because why in the world isn't this road get up and thank you, Amber, for thanking me. I'm glad I can bring this to you guys' attention. A good friend brought this to my attention about Indigenous women and the Native and how they go missing, and then I started this big huge segment of, so this is where we've been stuck. Unfortunately, it's just not talked about. I just cannot believe it. This highway, though, what gets me is nobody's talking about it, and nobody knows about this highway. Why has it got like police or you know, your native tribes? Because most of the reasons why cops don't get involved in the tribal communities because it's jurisdictional, federal. There's tons of layers to it, you guys. I could say go back and watch the MMIW. That's where it started at. And it's going to lead you into a whole can of worms. I'm not kidding you. This is where we're at.
Relatively speaking, around the Highway of Tears, there's lots of people that don't know what that is, you know, that aren't aware of what that situation is about, or, you know, any of the information around that.
Well, the Highway of Tears really, you know, a lot of the First Nations women and why it's gotten so much notice stems from the 1990s when a lot of the young Aboriginal women went missing, and one of those women, actually she was a teen, it was my cousin Ramona Wilson.
When we really became aware of it was when it touched our family personally. So when my first cousin, Ramona Wilson, went missing, that was sort of the first thing. We'd always heard about things on TV, you know, but never really realizing how that would impact us until it happened to our family.
The information about the Highway of Tears really came out, especially in 2002 when Nicole Hoare went missing.
You know, she knew better than hitchhike, and she went ahead and did it anyway. And she just wanted to get there faster than...
Horror. Okay, let me get my... Hold up. Wait a minute, because this is another one I can research. Give me 1 minute. Hold, please. Horse. And then Jack Hoare is the father. Okay, another girl missing from the highway.
Public transit would get her, and so she made a bad mistake.
Previous to that, there were a lot of Aboriginal women and girls who'd gone missing and been murdered. But I think when Nicole Hoare, who was a smiling, happy-looking young woman in the pictures that were in the media, it really hit home for a lot of people.
Look, last seen here, June 31st. Hold on, y'all. Okay. Sorry, hold please, sorry.
People. And all the news media picked up on this, and really the word got out.
She was last seen hitchhiking on Highway 16 on June 21st.
June 21st.
With Nicole's disappearance, the term Highway of Tears became increasingly known and widely used. Of most importance, the media and general public finally took notice that her disappearance was not an isolated incident.
I think for our communities, it was frustrating because, there was a number of missing Aboriginal women that were already missing.
Indigenous women and girls had gone missing for some time. They felt without adequate attention, and then a young white woman went missing, and there was a lot of press attention, and suddenly this was something in the spotlight.
It's a bigger issue than just Nicole. It's our Aboriginal communities that have been searching for our own and really trying to, get some justice.
These folks have been victimized twice. Once when their daughters, their sisters, their mothers have gone missing. And then a second time when the justice system has utterly failed them in the pursuit of the justice they so rightly deserve. There can be no solutions until we get to the truth and the heart of the matter. That this is a complex issue. The sources of this violence against Aboriginal women and girls is complex, but it is no possibility of finding those solutions unless we actually have the truth.
It's so crazy, the words that he's saying.
On the table, and the resistance from this government, time and time again, to have the courage and the leadership to approach this conversation and find that truth is yet a third victimization of these families.
There's a lot of poverty in our communities. There's a lot of unemployment. There's a lot of issues with the generation of issues that comes with boarding schools, such as Indian residential schools.
And the effects of residential schools is going to carry on probably for a couple of more generations and underlies much of what we're talking about here. It underlies the Highway of Tears and just an obliteration of cultures through many policies over many years.
For nearly 150 years, the mandatory attendance of Aboriginal children aged 7 to 15 served in removing children from their families in order to kill the Indian in the child and assimilate.
That's horrible. Also, I don't know if it's going to touch base, but also there's a thing called the 60s scoop. And I want you guys, if you don't know what that is, watch the last video of how Indigenous Native Americans get placed in white families. It's a whole big adoption scheme that should have never been allowed. And I do believe it was called the 60s scoop. And, the 60s scoop, adoption of Indigenous. Look that up to you guys.
Aboriginal youth into mainstream European Canadian culture.
Years.
For nearly 150 years, the mandatory attendance of Aboriginal children aged 7 to 15 served in removing children from their families in order to kill the Indian in the child and assimilate Aboriginal youth into mainstream European Canadian culture.
Sad.
In these buildings, young Aboriginal children had their characters redesigned to fit the European model. They were not allowed to speak their native language, have any contact with their family, or practice any aspect of their culture.
How is that right?
It took nearly 10 years for the government.
How is that right for them to take a little kid out of their home and tell them that they can't that irks me.
Government to partner with numerous Aboriginal organizations to begin efforts of reconciliation and provide counseling to survivors of the residential school program. This was launched in 2007, followed by a formal apology from Prime Minister Harper in 2008.
In the 1870s, the federal government, partly in order to meet its obligations to educate Aboriginal children, began to play a role in the development and administration of these schools. Two primary objectives of the residential school system were to remove and isolate children from the influence of their home, families, traditions, and cultures, and to assimilate them into the dominant culture. The Government of Canada built an educational system in which very young children were often forcibly removed from their homes, often taken far from their communities. Many were inadequately fed, clothed, and housed. All were deprived of the care and nurturing of their parents, grandparents, and communities. To the approximately 80,000 living former students and all family members and communities, the Government of Canada now recognizes that it was wrong to forcibly remove children from their homes, and we apologize for having done this.
Within the residential school system, RCMP officers were essentially the truant officers.
Like when we went to residential, or people were going to residential
Now
school,
you're sad.
RCMP were the ones that came and got the kids if we hid them. And in our language, we call the RCMP Mischuckin, and that means the people who take us away.
We conducted 5 weeks of field research in northern British Columbia just to get a full sense of the relationship between the RCMP and Indigenous women and girls in northern BC. We found that a number of women and girls had experienced a range of mistreatment, and that went all the way from inappropriate searches of women and girls by male officers, all the way up to physical assault, including beatings in cells, as well as sexual assault and rape.
Many of our people, you have to remember, don't trust the RCMP. So that's first and foremost, is that they have to try somehow to build some trust within the community.
I don't think that First Nations in general think that the RCMP are someone that they can go to for help. I think they've always been seen as perpetrators against our people.
We found that the levels of fear of retaliation by police for sharing information about what had happened were extremely high, about on par with situations that we had previously seen in conflict or post-conflict societies where the state authorities themselves had been involved in abuses.
I said to the RCMP, I said, what about those 2 men in Saskatoon where they made us that they took out and froze? Oh, that wasn't RCMP, that was Saskatoon police. I said, you guys are supposed to be peace officers, not beat officers. As I wrote, they did get punished for their wrongdoing. They got 6 months off with pay.
Oh my God.
You went and killed somebody, you get paid for it? Bullshit.
Those things have really impacted the family structure for Aboriginal people, for First Nations people across this land. And as a result of that, that's impacted the very core of who we are as people and how we feel about ourselves.
There's whole courses on it about the stereotypes of women, First Nations women as squaws, First Nations women as whores, and really portrayed as bad women and women not worth anything.
There's things in the media that, written, there's things in movies where we were easy. There's all of these things that our life was not important.
There was a popular song, and it was a hit in 1958, and it was called Squaws Along the Yukon. And those are the types of songs that were hit songs in Canada. Squaws Along the Yukon are good enough for me.
There's a salmon-colored girl who sets my heart a whirl, who lives along the Yukon far away. With the northern lights a shine, she rubs her nose to mine, she cuddles close and I can
Oh my God.
hear her say, ooga ooga ooga, which means I love you.
I don't think I'm going to play that. I mean, he has it on YouTube, so I guess it's not that bad.
You will be my baby, I'll ooga ooga mooshka you. Then I take her hand in mine and set her on my knee. Squaws along the Yukon are good enough for me.
It's really about establishing that trust and respect. So you look at, for example, the Ramsey case, right? Judge Ramsey. I mean, how many girls were victimized by the judge?
I think the Ramsey case is extremely important in understanding the context for the Highway of Tears. It's really hard to underestimate what it does to a community's faith in the justice system when you find out that a sitting judge has been sexually exploiting girls, children in the community for a long time with impunity.
Question, who polices the police? Who judges the judges? We all know what I'm talking about. Judge Ramsey. Those working girls up there were telling me what Judge Ramsey was doing. They're 12, 14.
Judge David Ramsey was sent to prison for sexually assaulting and buying sex from girls as young as 12. Ramsey was sentenced to a mere 7 years for sexually assaulting the teens. He was due for statutory release on January 30th, 2000.
Oh my God, it was 64, June 30th, 2/3 of the point. You've got to be kidding me. This judge could just do this to all these little girls? No. I'm shocked. Okay, let's go back.
2009, only 2/3 into a sentence. But he never got out of prison.
Thank
He
God.
got something better. He got terminal cancer. He's dead. We all have to answer to someone bigger in our so-called justice system, the big guy in the sky. So who do we trust, from the police to the judges to the bullshit?
And I'll tell you this right now, since the Ramsey cases occurred, nothing has changed. Nothing has changed within the justice system. Nothing has changed within the RCMP to ensure that a Ramsey case never happens again. So obviously, like if a young woman is feeling victimized, you know, who is she going to trust to go to?
The most striking thing to me when we were doing the research in northern BC was the sense of insecurity that women and girls, Indigenous women and girls, felt in their communities.
First Nations women experience violence for longer periods of time and more extreme
Oh
forms of
my
violence.
God.
They're more often likely to have a gun held to their head or a knife, being threatened with a knife or threatened with some kind of a weapon.
I had an experience when I hitchhiked. I had to get, he tried to grab me. That was really scary. He tried to grab me after, he tried to push me while I was driving. While the truck was still going, I jumped out.
I come from a family that was not only victimized from the government institutions. We all know about the residential school era. Pretty much my whole family was affected by that. The result of a lot of that was alcohol abuse, drug abuse, violence. My mother, wanting obviously to have funds to look after her only son, she would do pretty much anything she could. And gambling was a form of that, bingo. And she won a nice sizable chunk of money. And it was late in the evening. And she was going to use that money, come home, celebrate. But on her way from the bingo hall to the bus station, somebody took advantage of her. And obviously she's not here today.
Jeanette Basil. There's another missing woman. What the actual fuck? Sorry, hold please. Because I'm gonna later on we're gonna go over these women. Eventually, I want to try to bring light to all these missing women. I mean, we have cases from Selena Not Afraid. We have case from, oh God, Selena Not Afraid. We have Kirasia. Ashlynne Mike. A lot of those were unsolved. Yeah, one of them had a little boy that was returned back, and it just, I'm shocked.
We see it across the board. It's very, very common. If you're looking at sexual assaults, for instance, only about 10% of all sexual assaults are reported. 90% of them are not. Some people think it doesn't happen, levels of society and different income levels. But yeah, unfortunately, before I started, I wasn't aware of that either. But now that I've been in the job for about 9 years, I've become very aware of how much violence impacts our communities.
People like to hide it and don't ever say anything about violence against women, and it should be brought out.
Probably, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 months ago, I came out, if you will, because I'm a survivor of domestic violence. And, I haven't been in that relationship since 1989, but it took a lot of years to come to terms with that and to not blame myself, not to say, okay, what did I do? How could I have done something different? What should I have done? So when I left home at 15, I actually moved in with, the person that ended up being my husband and was my abuser.
My parents were divorced when I was 12, and it was pretty brutal, violent breakup.
If you live with someone like that, it really forms who you are as a person, and it normalizes it. I didn't know that there was anything wrong with that it was anything different.
My dad was divorced too. My mom divorced my dad. Thank God, because my dad was not a very good guy. Not till we got older. But let me back her story up just a tad bit, because I can relate to her. Wasn't abused. I had domestic violence with my boyfriend, and so ex-boyfriend, and so I can definitely.
We see it across the board. It's very, very common. If you're looking at sexual assaults, for instance, only about 10% of all sexual assaults are reported. 90% of them are not.
90% of them are not reported. sad.
Some people think it doesn't happen in all, levels of society and different income levels. But yeah, unfortunately, before I started, I wasn't aware of that either. But now that I've been in the job for about 9 years, I've become very aware of how much violence impacts our communities.
People like to hide it and don't ever say anything about violence against women, and it should be brought out.
Probably, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 months ago, I came out, if you will, because I'm a survivor of domestic violence. And, I haven't been in that relationship since 1989, but it took a lot of years to come to terms with that and to not blame myself, not to say, okay, what did I do? How could I have done something different? What should I have done? So when I left home at 15, I actually moved in with,
Okay, so she said a key point, you guys. She said something very key in this that I want us to just say out loud and say that a lot of women who go through domestic violence, we all feel that type of way. We feel, what could we did better? What could we have done this? Did I cause this? Did I say this wrong? Did I do this? Do I deserve this? Is this what love is? It happens.
The person that ended up being my husband and was my abuser.
My parents were divorced when I was 12. It was pretty brutal, violent breakup.
If you live with someone like that, it really forms who you are as a person, and it normalizes it. I didn't know that there was anything wrong with that it was anything different. I just thought that was part of everyday life. And I witnessed that in my own family from my mom and dad as well.
And, my mom never quit. Now she runs the Native Friendship Center here in Prince. Now she's my hero.
I think that it's really important to bring it out of, it can't be a secret. We have to talk about it.
When we look at violence against women, it's not just looking at the issue of women, it's also looking at the issue of men as well and their roles. In our society, Indigenous society, everybody has a role. We have a role for, the woman, the man, the elders, and even the children and the babies. Everybody has a role in that society. And what we need to do is to get back to that we have to uphold the men so that they could take up their rightful roles.
We need to not forget our men, and we need to be there to lift up our men and to hold them up so that they can be leaders and they can be warriors. And I think, the grassroots Moose Hide campaign speaks to that. It speaks to men being able to acknowledge and to speak to and to honor and to stand up for violence against Aboriginal women and girls. And so it's very much a grassroots campaign where, men come together and they do workshops and they share and they trust each other and they spread the word that it's not a secret, that we need to get the word out there. We need to acknowledge that that's happening in order to address it and in order to stop that whole cycle.
I bang the drum 4 times to acknowledge the 4 sacred winds that bring the 4 sacred seasons.
It's really confusing. The feeling that I had is confusing. So you start to feel like maybe there's something wrong with you because your own parents are hurting you or they're hurting each other. So our young people see that happening and you feel it happening and it starts to break your spirit down. Right?
Aww.
That's something that my dad learned in residential school. To parent through violence, to resolve problems through violence. And now is our chance to reclaim our identity, reclaim our culture, reclaim our real manhood. And to spread that good medicine through our words.
I agree. I so hardly agree. I can't believe.
And I think what non-First Nations people don't realize is that, if somebody wants to go to college or somebody wants to go to do something in the city, right, it's not that big of a deal. You have a transit system, you have all that. Now, somebody from small little Tackle Lake First Nation, for example, where I come from, if they want to go to school, they have to go travel 3 hours on dirt road to get to Fort St. James. From Fort St. James to Prince George is about 2 hours. Now, if you don't have a vehicle, how are you going to get there? And a lot of our communities, it's 92% unemployment in some of our communities, right?
Wow.
So some people don't have vehicles. So there's that whole issue. And some of our young women are leaving communities because there's nothing there for them, or maybe one of the impacts of residential school is impacting them directly. So if you're looking to higher your education, if you're looking to go to a doctor's appointment, it's a totally different reality than somebody down south where all the services are accessible.
3 hours to get somewhere. I hope you guys are just taking this in and letting it resonate with you. How beautiful the mountains are, though. It's sad.
The human nature, if there's stagnation in activity, if you're just totally centralized, stay in one place too much, the distractions mount on you, and you look for different vices to get out of that, just to break up the time. And a lot of people end up turning either to alcohol or to drugs, pills, just a distraction of trying to attain money in whatever form that takes, and whether that's gambling or stealing or violence.
Hitchhiking is a mode of transportation, not a good one. But we see it every day in our community. I mean, more than every day. In the morning and out in this hitchhiking, there's an actual hitchhiking corner in Vanderhoof. People going to Syca's community are standing on that corner, and not. But I mean, so that our communities, we don't have resources in place, I guess, so that we do put people at risk just by that type of ways and means of getting around. And it's very common. The hard part for me, though, too, is I drive all the time, and I drive by people, and I feel uncomfortable picking up because I think, okay, I don't know these individuals, and get it kind of, you think about that too. Okay, this is this person that's vulnerable on the side of the road. But then I pick them up, and I feel vulnerable, and then what do you do then? And then you feel like that there's something you could do different.
Yeah.
It's a rural area in the north. Some of the essential services that you might need access to are located in the bigger urban centers. So a lot of going back and forth is needed. At the same time, the public transportation is extremely limited. You have the Greyhound bus that operates a very limited schedule. And if you don't have personal access to a vehicle, you can be in a really tough spot.
Look, yeah, it's like they don't have they have Greyhound, but they don't have like bus services to get people to work, and that's very important. And then you got missing women that go missing on these highways because you got these creepers out here. It's sickening.
Or, as unfortunately in the case of some of the women who've disappeared, have been looking for a ride from a stranger on the highway.
But I'd say to the girls, don't hitchhike. If they want to hitchhike, I'd say go to a truck stop. But to stand out there, yikes. Pretty silly thing to do nowadays.
I've had to hitchhike myself.
That lady
because I had no money.
I love that lady.
Right? You wouldn't put yourself in a position of danger if you had money.
Especially early on when they didn't have the education about hitchhiking. Hitchhiking was an acceptable form of transportation, especially, like I said, if you didn't have the employment or the funds to have your own resources to get your own transportation, stick out your thumb.
And I believe me as a parent, I have the right and I have the tools now, and it's up to me to keep my daughter's memory alive.
16.
That way I stand a better chance of finding out what happened to my daughter before it's too late here in this world.
My name is Brenda June Wilson, and I'm the sister of Ramona Lisa Wilson, who was murdered in 1994, June 11th. Her body was found outside the Smithers Airport by a couple of people that were 4x4ing. They got stuck. They went to look for some wood to get them out of the mud, and they came upon my sister's remains.
Ramona, she was such a young girl, she was 15. She had her life ahead of her. And since she went missing, since we found her body a year later in 1995, we really saw, well, personally, I saw how much effect that would have on a parent. And I really saw it in my aunt, my Aunt Matilda. And you see how much it's changed her. And it's quite, it's devastating.
Terry's always been really affected. His whole family has been. We also went together to see a documentary called Finding Dawn. And during that documentary, he broke down in a way I've never seen him break down before, and just sobbed and sobbed with his head in his hands. And so at that moment, I truly realized how devastating a loved one to go missing and never found it does to a family.
I think people really need to know that Ramona was not expendable. Like, Ramona was just not a street person or whatever the media kind of portrayed, or what society thinks, that these were like prostitutes, they were drug eater or whatever, like as if that made their life any less worthy.
If you talk with communities in the north, as we do, you hear about families that have daughters, sisters, etc., move from the north where they didn't have much economic or educational opportunity to Vancouver, or in some cases to Prince George, and then only to find that their safety was at risk there.
We saw as well, we can't ignore the fact that what happened on the pig farm in Port Coquitlam. And in that case, again, the women were just treated like they were throwaway.
Victim solicited prostitutes from the downtown east side and drove them out to his pig farm in Port Coquitlam, a suburb of Vancouver. For years, his murders went unnoticed to law enforcement, even after several families reported their loved ones missing. Picton was arrested and charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. The list began to grow as DNA of 33 women were found on his farm.
Oh my God. Hold on, I'm going to slow this down for a minute. Oops, I didn't do it. Like you said, 33 women?
Or in some cases to Prince George, and then only to find that their safety was at risk there.
We saw as well, we can't ignore the fact that what happened on the pig farm in Port Coquitlam. And in that case, again, the women were just treated like they were throwaway.
Picton solicited
49.
prostitutes from the downtown east side and drove them out to his pig farm in Port Coquitlam, a suburb of Vancouver. For years, his murders went unnoticed to law enforcement, even after several families reported their loved ones missing.
Oh my God.
Picton was arrested and charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. The list began to grow as DNA of 33 women were found on his farm.
Oh my God. Did you guys see their evidence and what it looked like? How like they did their evidence?
Pig farm in Port Coquitlam, a suburb of Vancouver. For years, his murders went unnoticed to law enforcement, even after several families reported their loved ones missing. Picton was arrested and charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. The list began to grow as DNA of 33 women were found on his farm.
Oh my God. God, that was fast. I want to look at the evidence a little bit. Whoops, I went.
I think people really need to know that Ramona was not expendable. Like Ramona was just not a street person or whatever the media kind of portrays or what society thinks, that these were like prostitutes, they were druggies, they were whatever, like as if that made their life any less worthy.
If you talk with communities in the North, as we did, you hear about families that have daughters, sisters, etc., move from the North where they didn't have much economic or educational opportunity to Vancouver, or in some cases to Prince George. And then only to find that their safety was at risk there.
We saw as well, we can't ignore the fact that what happened on the pig farm in Port Coquitlam. And in that case, again, the women were just treated like they were throwaway.
Picton solicited prostitutes from the downtown east side and drove them out to his pig farm in Port Coquitlam, a suburb of Vancouver. For years, his murders went unnoticed to law enforcement, even after several families reported their loved ones missing. Picton was arrested and charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. The list began to grow as DNA of 33 women were found on his farm.
God. And nobody knew that he was doing this. Can you believe that? I mean, he was able to get 33 women. Oops. I remember reading about this Yeah, I can't believe this, Amber. Hi, Nanny.
He bragged to police that he killed as many as 49.
Generational trauma. You're absolutely right. Hi, Selena. Hi, guys.
The media covered the case and heavily portrayed the women as high-risk prostitutes
Look
and
at all
drug
these
users
beautiful
from
women.
Vancouver's downtown east side, not as daughters, mothers, or loved family members.
Prostitutes. Just got chat back open. Hi, guys. Sorry about that.
Families of the missing and murdered women had been pushing for public hearings prior to serial killer Robert Picton's conviction of 6 murders.
It's just sad that this is unnoticed, and this is just. Thank you all for being here and supporting me. These are hard. This is hard to do. Like, ever since I started doing this segment of all these women and started into the men now, and this is happening in Vancouver, and like these tribal communities are being these women and men, kids even. It's just horrible.
They were angered and wanted answers for their family members' deaths.
There's no questions about that first murdered missing women's task force.
I will share it. Maybe I'll show the clip of it before I close out tonight. There's a clip of a powwow that just happened, that just went down, and I tell you what, listening to them and watching them dance, it kind of calms you, and it's just like, how could this be happening? I mean, most of these people you see in here would be so calm, and I mean, it's just, their culture is amazing.
Been lifted and has been put underneath the carpet. I want to see accountability. I want to know what's going to be done about the first murdered missing women's task force. Are they going to be investigated? And if not, why?
Why have all these women gone missing from the downtown east side of Vancouver? And why did it take so long for them to identify and arrest and then subsequently prosecute Robert Pickton, who was responsible for so many of those murders?
Robert Pickton.
Finally, in September of 2010, a missing women's inquiry headed by Commissioner Wally Opal was initiated to examine the role of the Vancouver Police and the RCMP in the disappearances and murders of women in the downtown east side.
Is it acceptable that we allowed our most vulnerable to disappear, to be murdered?
This guy irks me.
The question is upsetting. It challenges our fundamental values.
Commissioner Wally Opal concluded that the RCMP did not conduct their investigations properly. The Pickton investigation and trial ended up costing taxpayers and the Canadian government over $100 million. How was he able to murder so many women without anyone taking notice?
Yeah. RCMP too slow. Just like that Pickton. That whole deal down there.
It'd be much better if
that lady, whoever she is, but she must have seen a lot and heard a lot and knows a lot. And when she speaks, the words she says, it's crazy.
If we recognize the victims, and from their point of view, understand why that happened, and how to not let that continue. The media across the board would be just if there was more highlight on
more
the victims.
True crimers.
Definite difference between the missing women with the Aboriginal community versus the general society with the non-First Nations women.
I think that the media, they have a lot of power and they pick and choose the issues that they want to place their focus on. They could have covered Pickton or the Highway of Tears long before they chose to. Why they didn't, I don't know.
We, the victims in our so-called justice system, pay a higher price than any of these type of people ever do.
I think one of my biggest experiences is knowing a lot of the women
sad.
That have gone missing. I've either gone to elementary school with them or I'm related to them. And just knowing them personally is
I'm dropping
hard.
this guy's
because when you're
link.
sitting there
I
and
want
talking
you guys
with
to go
their
check
family,
out
who's a sister or a
Smiley.
brother or an aunt or an uncle.
The Smiley and his, he does a lot too. So he does a lot. Make sure you guys.
And you're there to comfort them and you're trying to keep the strength and yourself together. And bring this person up and try to tell them that it's okay if it's not.
Check out my favorite peoples in the house.
And you'll never really.
Gotta share their link.
These things don't go away, so.
I think in addressing the Highway of Tears more broadly, though, we have to think about is it shouldn't matter whether you're part of a task force or not. If someone calls and reports someone missing, you need to know that immediately that case is going to be taken seriously and is going to be pursued with the full effort of the RCMP.
What the problem is,
RCMP.
When the people phone in for their loved ones that are missing, the police or whoever, they don't take it seriously. They just don't take it seriously. I don't know what you have to be taken serious. Like, I think the only time you're taken seriously is when someone is murdered.
Alicia.
The body of 14-year-old Ayla Sarik Auger was discovered on a Friday afternoon in February of 2006. A passing motorist spotted her remains in a ditch a few miles east of Prince George by Tabor Mountain on Highway 16.
Highway 16 again.
And that investigation is still ongoing. We do not have a suspect at this time that's being held accountable for her murder. And so we're still receiving tips to this day on her disappearance.
When her body was...
See, here we go. Another one, Highway 16, and another woman, another girl, 14 years old, a kid.
Found the family had come to us, her mom had come to us and asked if we would be willing to go out there and to do ceremony in the place where her body was located. You know, I remember getting to the spot and just how very challenging that was to know that this was the place where this young lady, you know, just full of life and, you know, excited about life, and somebody who liked Hannah Montana, for heaven's sakes, you know.
Oh, Hannah Montana. You guys remember Hannah Montana? Oh my gosh. She loved Hannah Montana.
So as we were going down the embankment to go to the place where she was, I had brought my hand drum and drummed our way down there.
When the young woman, Ayla Auger, had passed away, that was enough for us. We said enough, that something had to be done.
I felt that part of my responsibility as an elected Aboriginal leader within this community was to bring attention to the subject matter.
At the same time, Rena Zatorsky and Lately, you know, she was at the same, you know, she was upset as well. The Lately Nation were upset. So we already had planned on doing something. And so Rena came together and we all joined forces to have the symposium.
I released a news release asking for interest in a symposium to talk about the issues surrounding missing and murdered Aboriginal women specifically. And we organized it in about a month's time.
The 2006 Highway of Tears Symposium was an important moment for advocacy around the Highway of Tears cases, because it allowed the community to come together to discuss exactly what had been happening and what a plan would look like to address the murders and disappearances.
That created that sort of critical mass for
All
the community
these
to
poor
really
women.
understand, hey, these aren't vulnerable women necessarily going missing. For instance, sex workers and drug addicted women. This is happening to women of varying lifestyles and socioeconomic statuses.
I believe that the police actually started taking seriously the issues of missing and murdered women along the corridor seriously after the symposium. I think that the public really had to put pressure on them and essentially embarrass them to step up to the plate and take the issue seriously and start looking at what was happening, what's going on.
Embarrass some fuckers. The police need to take this more
There were
serious.
over 500 people there in attendance, including family members, RCMP, bigwigs with the provincial government.
There were about 92 organizations represented there. So to me, that really showed that this was an issue that was being taken seriously from the community itself. The police is a totally different story, but the community itself was extremely interested in the issue and wanted to talk about it and bring some awareness and solve some of the surrounding issues.
So when we had asked the questions to the families as to what could have been done, what could have the RCMP done better, what could have victim services done better, what could society have done better, and all the families went and answered that question. All the First Nation families. The last one that spoke was Jack Hoare, and we asked him the same questions.
And at the symposium, we probably had 3 or 4 families talk about their experiences prior to ourselves getting up, and in all cases, it was the direct opposite of what we had experienced. So, and I did comment that it was not embarrassing, but very unsettling to see how we were treated versus the reaction that the other families had received.
Horror.
He said when he went, him and his wife Betty went and reported their daughter missing, the RCMP were so helpful and so concerned. They were right on top of the case right away.
And I think that really shows that, you know, there definitely was that systemic racism that we keep referring to.
Certainly some of the police officers that we spoke with during our research talked about there being a very different attitude after the Nicole Hoare case, a very different attitude towards the murders and disappearances, that they were taken much more seriously, and that before that they hadn't received nearly the attention that they were due.
I think, unfortunately, there were a lot of recommendations that came out of the Highway of Tears Symposium that haven't been worked on or galvanized.
That a shuttle bus transportation system be established between each town and city located along the entire length of Highway 16, defined as the Highway of Tears. That the number, types, and frequency of essential health and social services be increased for direct delivery to the First Nations communities located along the Highway of Tears.
I so agree.
that the RCMP continue its official investigation or inquiry into the Aboriginal community's assertions on the actual number of missing women.
I think that's one of the main frustrations about the 33 recommendations, that there's virtually no money available to put into place any of the recommendations.
There has been no commitment from the provincial or federal governments to fund it. And it's always been a challenge to really implement those.
And that's a big thing. It's always about money. It's always about like how this little 12-year-old boy, Jason, dies because they don't know how to treat the rivers and there's no funding to treat these on fresh water. That made me really mad. Sorry, but I just had to, it popped up in my head. Like, where he talks about all this funding, it's like
Those recommendations,
there's
which
no money nowhere.
promote a lot of prevention.
And so what has changed since 2000?
I say we start working with the drug dealers, get their money to start putting the money back into things. It's like, Jesus, it's like there's no funding for anything.
There is the EPANA group, and they're the group of investigators. So they do updates for the direct families of the victims.
I'm Gary Shinkarik. I'm with the RCMP. I'm an inspector. I'm the officer in charge of the EPANA investigation, which is commonly referred to as the Highway of Tears. Although I'll mention the Highway of Tears in general deals with so many other social, economic issues, and EPANA really is focusing on the specific murdered and missing women from northern BC.
Project EPANA began in the fall of 2005 under the E Division Criminal Operations with the task of reviewing and investigating the unsolved cases, with links to highways 97, 5, and 16.
Wow.
The task force took ownership of 9 investigations in 2006. In 2007, the cases doubled from 9 to 18. Project EPANA consists of 13 homicide investigations and 5 missing peoples investigations. Some of the cases date as far back as 1969.
Oh my gosh.
The actual number of missing and murdered women in northern British Columbia is unknown. The EPANA investigation number focuses on 18, but the number is argued to be higher than 40. Canada-wide, over 600 Aboriginal women have been reported missing and or murdered. The majority of these cases have been nothing short of neglected.
You guys, it's so sad.
There's so many other women missing that were not included. One of them was my sister, Teresa Humphrey. My sister was murdered here in Prince George 18 years ago. She must have been intoxicated to have been thrown out of the place where she left. And then she got picked up by a truck. He took her way out in a logging road. The police had told us that she was dragged. The guy dragged her in a truck, and that we were not allowed to see her when we went to the funeral because she was not recognizable. And right about the same time before that happened, the same man was picked up for Marnie Blanchard. She was also looking for a ride. So this guy gave her a ride, and he was picked up by them for her, but they didn't have enough evidence, so they let him go. So when they let him go, that's when he killed my sister.
Brian Arp was arrested a second time following the discovery of Teresa Humphrey's body, posed atop a snowbank 50 kilometers southwest of the city. Police used DNA collected from a cigarette butt taken from Arp's interrogation to link him to the murders of Marnie Blanchard and Teresa Humphrey.
It's fucking horrible. If he wouldn't have got out, he wouldn't have killed that girl then. It just irks me how like when you let him out, like they don't, I don't know, like if it's at least hold him, and I don't know, I just don't get it.
A little Lisa Tate, just a little bugger like this, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Shaking like a leaf. She was born a crack baby.
Mm-hmm.
They had to put a pacemaker in her at birth. Her mother couldn't stay off the garbage long enough to have that kid. She said, if I tell you something, will you promise not to say anything? I said, well, no. She tells me some of these bodies are going down the Skeena River. I called one of those bonehead cops over. I said, I got something to tell you guys. This is what Lisa Tate just told me.
Mm-hmm.
Did you tell the guys downtown? I said, I'm telling you. I'm on Ankle Express. Boneheads. Jesus. So they come over. I said,
this lady cracks me up. I'm not kidding you. I gotta go back a second.
To link him to the murders of Marnie Blanchard and Teresa Humphrey.
a little Lisa Tate, just a little bugger like this, eh? Shaking like a leaf. She was born a crack baby. They had to put a pacemaker in her at birth. Her mother couldn't stay off the garbage long enough to have that kid. She said, if I tell you something, will you promise not to say anything? I said, well, no. She tells me some of these bodies are going down the Skeena River. I called them those bonehead cops over. I said, I got something to tell you guys. This is what Lisa Tate just told me. Did you tell the guys downtown? I said, I'm telling you. I'm on Ankle Express. Boneheads. Jesus. So they come over. I said, you know, I'm really getting sick and tired of telling the same story. Write it down.
Write it down. Lauren Leslie.
Actually, I was at a mine Christmas party that night, and I was by myself at it. And at 8 o'clock at night, I just didn't feel like being there anymore for whatever reason. I went home. And then at midnight, I got a call from the RCMP asking if Lauren was home. And I said, no, she's staying with her mother. And I said, what's going on? And they said, well, they stopped somebody on the highway towards Fort St. James. And if Lauren's home, then somebody's using her ID because they found it in this person's vehicle. I waited about an hour. And then I called dispatch and I asked them, I said, I told them what was going on. And they were going to get somebody back to me right away. And that didn't happen for another hour. So I figured I'd just drive up until I saw cops. So I drove up to the site. And then when I got there, the game warden was standing there just white as a ghost. And I told them who I was and that I wanted to know what was going on. And they said they were investigating a homicide and nobody could go up there. And so I knew what was going on then.
We can announce today that 3 counts of first-degree murder have been laid against 21-year-old Cody Alan Lejabakov.
She described Cody's truck. She described him. She's from Vander.
A portrait of an alleged young serial killer operating in Prince George is emerging tonight. This morning, police revealed that Cody Lejabakov is accused in the murders of 3 women.
Look at him. How does he? I just don't. There's your bad guy. I cannot believe it. This makes me sick.
And 1 teenage girl.
She was right on the money. Towards truck. It's him.
Lejabakov was arrested the night of November 27, 2010, when an RCMP officer stopped a suspicious truck pulling onto Highway 16 from an unused logging road. Lejabakov's tracks were retraced along the snowy trail to find the body of 15-year-old Lauren Dawn Leslie, just hours after she had been murdered. Lejabakov is now linked to the murders of 35-year-olds Jill Stachenko, Cynthia Moss, and an alleged 4th victim, 23-year-old Natasha Montgomery, whose body is yet to be found.
How pretty she is. Oh my God.
My daughter definitely was a people person, and she, you know, liked a lot of different people, and I could see her being very trusting, right? And, you know, what do you do now?
Aww. They need to close this fucking highway down.
I think it gets easier over time. I mean, it's easier as in now I could have a conversation without breaking down, but I mean, I still break down, right? Like I still, you know, find it, I guess, a little bit easier to talk about, but it's still not easy. It's just a day by day thing. Yeah. That's what it is.
The funeral, I had to explain an empty casket. And because Lauren was supposed to be back on a Thursday, the funeral was set for Saturday, and then they had asked permission for her to go to Pennsylvania for further testing, so we did that, so she wasn't back. So, you know, we carried on anyway.
I think that's the guy right there.
What could have happened? Why did it happen? I mean, there's always that question, why, and why me, and why us, and, you know, like, it's just so unreal. It still is, but it's, you know, I mean, it's real, but it's surreal, and it's, I don't know, they say everything happens for a reason. I don't know what the reason was, but he was stopped.
Thank God he can't hurt another soul, honey.
In the case with Madison Scott, she came from a small community, and that community came together with such huge support. They all knew Madison and her family, and it's a tragic case where you know, she was a vibrant individual, and here she is at a party with friends, and to not come home when she was supposed to, and not to contact friends, was completely out of her character. And then the grisly discovery, if you will, going back to the Hogsback Lake and finding her truck and her tent still there, but no Madison, that sends chills up any investigator's back.
Uh-huh.
We're the parents of 20-year-old Madison Scott.
Our daughter Maddie was last seen on Saturday, May 28th out at Hog's Back Lake, just south of our hometown of Vanderhoof.
Immediately, the information was sent out to the public, and we had our search and rescue team. We had thousands of volunteers come out. We had our police dog services, air services involved, as well as the dive team, because Hog's Back Lake had quite a big lake at that location. And still, we have not been able to find what happened to Maddie, and we haven't been able to find Maddie.
Therefore, we would like to announce that we are offering a reward of up to $15,000 for information leading to the safe return of our daughter, Madison Scott.
People go all over the province and they see posters and they know about it. We have friends on different parts of the province and they all see the posters and they all know what's going on.
I've never seen a community pull together like this community has, and the support both emotionally and financially and everything, because it takes a big effort to do what this family's done. And this family is just really dedicated. Okay, so today the search group from Madison Scott has organized this poker ride. Today the horses are starting from here. Down the road a couple miles, there's quads that are going to go up, and they're starting from a different location. And then there's also a bunch of walkers walking around the ridges of Hog's Back Lake, actually, where Maddie went missing.
I'll be over shortly, buddy. Thank you for being here.
Madison joins a list of women and girls who leave their families and communities in shock. With their loved ones gone, they seek answers.
I'll come watch your
The Scott family has been very proactive in raising funds to find their daughter, increasing their reward from $15,000 to $100,000 for any information leading to Madison's discovery.
It's just horrible not knowing.
It's not just 18 women.
Gosh.
The Highway of Tears is Teresa Humphrey, Marnie Blanchard, Lauren Leslie, Natasha Montgomery, Madison Scott, and many more. They
Madison Scott is still missing. They haven't found her body.
But they do form part of a close geographic area in proximity to the highway that is plagued by a history of sociocultural and socioeconomic issues that put women at risk.
I thank you, Lord, for all these people here. We thank you for everything that you have done for us. Please keep us all safe. Every day, every night, keep us all safe. Amen. Thank you.
My aunt, since Ramona went missing, she's always had the walk. I mean, Ramona's remains were found a year later, but she does it anyways because she says, I was there, I know how it felt not to have that closure, and we still don't know what happened to Ramona, right? So there's still that piece that is left open. However, she does the work that she does because of the families that have not found their loved ones.
It was just a reminder every year that every year has gone by and there's nothing solved with my cousin.
That's so sad.
I think the idea is to never let this issue die, because as time goes by, a lot of people forget all those things that happened in the past. And I think that's what it's all about, is to always have that constant reminder of the missing women on the highway tours.
Even though we did find Ramona's remains and were able to bury her and put her to rest, we're still unrestful at this time because there's no answers to what happened to her, who her killer is. So there's an urgency.
The thing that I want to say this afternoon is I really want to commend my Auntie Maddie and Brenda and the family for continuing this walk for 18.
Okay, so do any of you girls and ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if there's any gentlemen in my chat, but if there's any all my ladies out in here, do you have you girls ever heard of these ladies' names? Have you guys ever heard of this highway? Like, I cannot believe I've never heard of this highway being such a crazy highway that these truck drivers are killing these women.
Years now. It's a thankless job, and she does it because she loves her daughter, and also for the concern of all the other missing and murdered women on Highway 16. And again, I'd like to thank you, and God bless you all for being here. Many, many blessings to you for what you do for us and the support that you've shown through so many years. Thank you.
On May 3rd, 2012, the Oregon Department of State Police Forensic Laboratory obtained a CODIS DNA match. The DNA match was for a U.S. citizen, Bobby Jack Fowler, who was born and spent most of his life in the U.S., has an extensive, violent, and criminal history for crimes including attempted murder, assault with a dangerous weapon, sexual assault, arson, kidnapping, attempting sexual assault, and firearms. While there are many things we do not know, we do know that he was transient and traveled between U.S. states and even countries in a day. He frequented bars and restaurants and was violent towards men and women and picked up hitchhikers.
Colleen was a lovely, sweet, innocent 16-year-old kid, and there are still no words in the world to express how terribly she was wronged. It has been a long wait for answers, and although it is a somewhat unsatisfactory result, because because this individual won't have to stand trial for what he did. We are comforted by the fact that he was in prison when he died and that he can't hurt anyone else. For those remaining families whose daughters and sisters were also victims, we hope this means they may yet have their own answers. The family requests that the media respect their wish for privacy and to direct any questions to the EPAN investigation team. Thank you.
So often we talk about statistics, like the number, there are 582 missing, but each of those women or each of those girls is a devastating loss to a family, is a hole in the heart of a community.
My sister, I really miss my sister. Anything I did, if I went, I had my own business, she was there for me. When I was driving, she would pour my coffee for me, and she'd help me with everything that I've done. She was always there for me. We were just 1 year apart. She was a mother and my sister, and she was just, she was very loving. She was my best friend, and yeah, we just really miss her, and I still miss her,
Our Christmases, that was our most cherished time. It was because it was the one time that you can see families, mothers in general, really strive to make happen for the children. And it was the one time she really made sure that I had what I needed to show that I was loved, and that she always wanted to create that family environment because I was an only child, and Christmases were big, and nothing was out of place during Christmas. You know what I mean? And that's the one thing I remember that she was really good at.
Tasha spent 9 years figure skating. She finished her junior bronze. Felt like I lived at the arena. And also her other sport was baseball. She spent, probably longer playing baseball. That definitely was a sport she loved.
Swimming. She could swim before she could walk. And she could see underwater, which she couldn't see out of water, but because of the sunlight. And so anyway, we'd dive lots, and I'd throw clowns out over the drop. She'd pick them up before they hit the bottom. So that was her favorite. It doesn't just affect the family, it affects the whole community. And from there it affects, there's people all over the world that it is affecting. And I have become aware of a lot more children that have been murdered, and met with some of the parents of the children, and it's unbelievable, because before it happened to us, it was just one of those things that happened on TV, or you read in the paper, and it's like, a few days, it's a sad thing to see or to hear about, but then you go page 2, page 3, and you forget about it, and that's a normal thing, I guess. But now that it's happened to me, it's opened a whole new book.
Now is the time to heal. We have to go forward with our lives and forward with what we have gone through, what we're seeing happen every day. We have to make a change, try to make a change, not just in our town and our families, but in our province, in our country, and even in the world.
And we've got to just keep people reminded that, they feel that it can't happen here, it can't happen to me, but it can, and it does. I know that for a fact.
I think if Nicole Hoare's parents would have known that women were going missing in the north, that they would have certainly cautioned their daughter, and we would have all cautioned our daughters about being careful and vigilant, that, women are being killed in the north.
I really believe the more we have this at the forefront, the more there's knowledge about it, the more that we talk about it. I think there will be prevention of these cases.
Lately, a so-called man beat the hell out of me. He got 2 months. I tried to help this shit. Got evicted. He got 6 months. Another man beat the hell out of my landlord's tree and is drunk and stupid amongst little charges. He got 2 years.
Wow. I love this lady. She cracks me up.
Maybe I'll come back as a willow tree. You can bend me, but you can't break me.
The Highway of Tears isn't just about a number. It's about humanity.
Exactly.
It's about erasing our history with discrimination, forging a new future with impartial eyes.
Oh my gosh. We're gonna definitely have to watch one of these light videos.
What I would like to do is do an evaluation around the recommendations that have come to pass since 2006, and I do believe that the government of British Columbia would get a fail. Again, there isn't a coordinated, concerted effort around the situation. We still have the same issues. We still have young women hitchhiking to get to the urban centers.
Clearly, this lack of transportation is exposing women to violence. So it is incumbent upon the government to make transportation accessible, to ensure that women can safely get from point A to point B when they need to get to essential services to conduct the daily business of life in the north.
Our lives are entangled with women who've gone missing and been murdered over the years. So it isn't just a matter of one group in our community trying to attack this. It's really such an important thing to realize that as a community we need to be doing more.
It's so critical that we talk to our young people, that we have people that are in leadership roles talk about some of those things that are going on.
And I can only hope that whatever happens out of having these type of discussions leads to those answers being questions that can put families at ease about the situation. Like you say, if out of all this, if you save one life, it was well worth it.
As a leader, I think that it's my responsibility to ensure that I share my story, because all it takes is one person to hear that story and it may change their lives.
we've just got to move forward. We can't be feeling sorry for ourselves and stuff. There's too many people out there that need to be aware. And like Kennedy said, if not us, who? And if not now, when? So we've got to do it. We've got to do it now.
I have to believe there's hope. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. Of course, there's hope. There's always hope. I think when we're looking at the whole issue of violence against women, it's not just about one initiative. It's not just about one project. What it is, it's a real changing of mindsets, but not only changing of mindsets, it's changing of hearts.
What these cases ask and what we ask as women's rights researchers on a daily basis is, what does the government owe women? And what are the government responsibilities when it comes to preventing violence against women and investigating it?
I think for me, that's the most urgent thing to address is what's happening to our girls right now, today, and what kind of a future are we leaving our girls? Because the measure of success for First Nations is what's the seventh generation going to say about you? And if that seventh generation can't remember you, then you've done nothing. And so I think it's important for us to put this period of devastation and homicide of First Nations women behind us.
That is what is going to be key to ensuring that no other woman goes missing. No other woman is being violated, no other woman becomes vulnerable. And, there's going to be a day that I hope not very long down the road where all women will be protected, all women will be safe, right? And that's what we just have to keep working towards.
In 1970. Look at all these young women. So many of them. In May of 2014, the RCMP released a report stating that 1,017 Indigenous women and girls have been murdered between 1980s and 2012, a homicide rate at least 4 times higher than that of all other Canadian women.
Where do you turn?
Robert Pickerton Denise responsibilities for his crimes. The families of the victims are still wanting. I'm sorry, I have a piece of hair in my mouth. Still waiting for justice. Horrible.
When the shadows fall, when the journey's too long.
After 20 years of searching for answers, the RCMP has told the Wilson's family that they have stopped an investigation on Ramona Wilson's case due to the lack of leads. That's sad.
Nothing at all.
Human Rights Watch and many other organizations have been pushing national inquiry to missing and murdered abnormal women. Nicole Legoff was sentenced to life in prison with parole.
I wait in the cold.
Canadian Prime Minister Harper and the Canadian federal government continues to reject a public plea for an inquiry that is ridiculous. Directed by Matt Smiley. What happened? That was crazy. I'm shocked. I cannot believe that. Wow. Let me just check something really quick. Okay, here you guys go.
You feel extra.
To give you guys something light, this is what I've been,
Mosaic Classical Academy is the best choice for schooling because we're personalized. Between the classical model of education and the individualized learning, we are able to create accommodations for a
That's all. To bring us in on a beautiful Friday night, it's grand entry time.
Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that beautiful? I love it. I love their culture. I just think they're missing women and children are going missing all the time.
Let's travel back. POWMIA and our veterans. That leading this grand entry. Let's give our veterans a round of applause.
Oh, look at the babies and the kids.
Let's give them a round of applause.
So cute. There you are, so cute.
Julie Crown, Miss Celeste, Haley, Mason, Elizabeth Celeste, Maya Mason, and as well all of our visiting royalty. We take the time to welcome in our Golden Age men leading in the grand entry here, and as well our matriarchs, our mothers, our aunts, our grandmothers, our life givers, our Golden Age women.
If you guys ever been to a powwow or ever been down to one, I say go to one. It's the best experience you ever have. I don't always remember mine. I see someone dancing. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, it was a little one.
As we now welcome in our women's traditional dancers. Silvers, Shortridge, Claude.
Little one. How long that lady's hair was. Aww. Look at these guys back here. I love it.
As we now welcome in our chicken dancers and grand dancers.
I don't have it all the time.
Women sing on, take an entry on this time. Women sing on.
Slow it down. They actually hear the music. Stomping, like how they do it, it's like things with like. I just can't believe how just so unreal and their culture is. Like, it's so cool. I think they're so awesome. Let me see who is live. I think anybody's live, but let me put them to. Oh, here.
They welcome in our women's fancy sound dancers.
Let me try to redirect. Okay, let me go back to the chat. I say go watch some more of this guy. He's got a lot more because he went there. This is the powwow that happened on the 8th.
We now welcome in our future world champion future leaders. Our team categories: Team Boys Traditional, Team Girls Traditional, Team Boys Brass, Team Girls Jingle.
I like their shoes and stuff that they do there. I like this girl. I love it. You know how fit they stay in? She's getting it. I love hers. I'm like, ooh, look how long her hair is. Hers, and they must be ribbon in her hair too. Girls, and that little blonde. This one, guys. Oh, this was really wild. Love it. Native American. Hers. Mama.
We now welcome in our junior categories.
Junior category.
Junior boys, traditional, junior girls, junior boys grass, junior boys fancy, junior girls jingle.
What do you guys think about that? I love it. There's more. But, okay. We're going to pause that. Wow, but look at him. Aw. All right. It was very, really beautiful. They're religious. They're so pretty. I know, like, they have the beautifulest costume, like, not really costumes, but, like, I think they have, like, the beautifulest accessories they wear. The kids are so pretty and cute and have their, I love their culture. Always, especially now that we've been doing the segments with Native Americans, you know, it's just, you know, when I've heard about this, I rode a pig farmer. Yeah, that was pretty scary to know that this guy had all these women out there, and it's pretty gross. Pretty freaking gross. Unreal. I know. I don't even like, I can't. Like, I'm so glad everybody came in. I'm so glad Nanny came. Excuse me, Amber, thank you for being here. I'm so glad everybody was able to come. I know it was a long one, but I had to show that video from the last video that we did, the last live I did. I had to make sure I had to show it. So, let's go with Thank you, everybody, for your support. It means a lot. I love your little Rottweiler. Love that. So yeah, it was great having you all here, and I appreciate it. And I feel like I wish I could get like a great live and great coverage. Oh, thank you so much. That means a lot to me, Amber. I will see you guys soon. I won't give you guys 2 days. I'll come up. I'm going to research some of the ladies, and maybe we'll dig into more of the missing women, because apparently there's more to this highway. I'll dig some more on the highway. I'm glad I was able to bring this to you guys' attention. I had no idea this was even an epidemic, that these women go missing. But definitely, I appreciate everyone being here. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you, Amber, Nanny. There's a couple other ones. I think I'm going to go chillax and wind down and watch some TV, because that was rough. That highway thing was crazy. I would never go on that highway. Never, ever, ever. So let's go out with, let's do... Thank you all. Appreciate you. Thank you, Amber Center. All y'all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe.